Hey guys, Scott Dispel here, dispelmusic.com. Today we're going to continue our journey into Dante's Inferno, Part 4, The Plane of Greed. Hey guys, Scott Dispel here, dispelmusic.com. Welcome to our humble studio here on the shores of the Cuyahoga River, which bleeds into Lake Erie here on the North Coast and Cleveland. Thank you for joining us. It's been a couple weeks since I've had a chance to chat with you, so I'm glad to be back, and inexcusable my absence here over the last couple weeks, but insanely busy with work, and I'm sure you can relate to that. When duty calls, you must answer. So first and foremost, if you like anything medieval or ancient cultures or history and lore and fantasy and battle axes and chainmail and historical sagas and mythology, you're in the right place. Those are the things that inspire our music. That's what we write about. And today we're talking about Dante's Inferno because our new upcoming album entitled Inferno is inspired by Dante's Inferno. So what we did is we took a song of each level of hell that Dante journeyed into, and we made a song about it. So the 9 layers are the different vices or the different sins, like greed and lust and wrath and treachery. So today we're on number 4. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series, please go to our YouTube channel, Dispel Music. You'll see a little icon there of the band, and please go to our channel, subscribe, and there I discussed the earlier levels, and right now we're on 4, and I thought it would be cool to do kind of a primer about the album, about the history, because Dante's Inferno is such a literary masterpiece that we wanted to make sure we did it justice. So I thought it'd be super cool to share the behind-the-scenes journey, as it were, about Dante's Inferno. So that's what we're getting into today. We're going to take a deeper dive. This is a pretty interesting vice, which is greed. Dante saw greed as the primary or most offensive vice against the spirit of love. And he saw it as one of the primary causes of ethical and political corruption in his time in Florence, a city which he was actually exiled from. And it especially, he felt, greed affected the monks and the cardinals and popes of the time, which I think we can draw some interesting parallels to our time, where I think that the sin of greed, or the vice of greed, has really spread upwardly to affect our leaders, the bureaucrats, politicians, and governments throughout the world. It's pretty easy to draw the parallels and see, the greed in a lot of decisions. And when we speak of greed, we're talking about, and other vices of this nature, these are called the sins of incontinence. And what that means is these sins arise through a lack of moderation, a lack of discipline, and a lack of restraint. So you can certainly see that there's certainly a lack of those virtues. And the cause of that is typically runaway greed or lust or gluttony. But yes, sins of incontinence, which can be controlled through moderation and discipline and restraint, which are definitely, hard virtues, but definitely something to seek. And I think ultimately that's what Dante was trying to express in Dante's Inferno by showing examples of, hey, if you are not a person of character and you succumb to your more animalistic and carnal desires, that there's consequences for that. So those are great moral compasses to go by, especially in today's society which you can turn on any social media source and see a plethora of videos or stories that really showcase the lack of moderation, discipline, and restraint, and people just don't realize it because we've kind of lost that connection to the basic fundamental virtues. So there's a severe lack of that. So that's why this album we feel is so timely, and it was such an undertaking to do because, like I mentioned before, we wanted to do it justice, but it's very timely, and we're just honored to be able to express our art through Dante's art. It just seemed to be a good mix for us because we love history and medieval culture and lore and mythology, and certainly going into the 9 layers of hell is definitely some pretty wild stuff, and that's a perfect fit for this band. So why don't I talk quickly? I'll do a quick update about what's going on with the band. Please stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to play a snippet of this song. So what is special about this song? There's a couple things special about this 4th level, which is Greed. A, we are doing a music video about this song. It is going to be the single and video we're going to release as the prequel to the album, Inferno album. So it also is I believe my favorite song on the album. So that's why we really focused a lot of energy on this one. Now in Dante's Inferno, he has the 4th level of hell, Greed, ruled by Plutus, or otherwise known as Hades, who was the lord of the underworld in Greek mythology. In Roman, it was Plutus or Pluto, and you can draw a lot of parallels between ancient Greek mythology and Roman mythology, where there's Ares and Mars and Pluto and Hades and Jupiter and Zeus. So a lot of parallels there. So what we did is we also, because we're gaming nerds and in the gaming community, especially role-playing games and fantasy like Dungeons & Dragons, a lot of writers have really taken deep dives into Dante's Inferno and really created a role-playing atmosphere or universe or setting for it. So we like to sprinkle some of that into our music, and we decided to kind of combine Dante's original work. So we used that as source material, and then we took source material from Dungeons & Dragons and some of the fantasy elements that we have enjoyed over the years in gaming and really left an impression on us, and we put it together, and then we encompassed it with our music, and we kind of combined lyrics from both because we wanted to honor Dante's original work, and we wanted to give it some extra flavor. So what we did with the extra flavor, and I think it's really it really shines on this album, is in the modern interpretation of Dante's Inferno. This plane is ruled by Lady Fierna, who is an Archduchess of Hell. And Lady Fierna, her father is Belial. He is the ruler, but actually she is scheming behind the scenes, and she is really basically doing a takeover of the plane behind her father's back. And it's really interesting intrigue and politics and things of that nature. So we really liked that. We really liked the thought of focusing on Fierna because she's such an interesting and cunning personality. I would say the party girl archdevil. So it felt like a great fit for the song. So on the lyrics, there's a chorus where we really break it down and let you know what Fierna stands for, and you better obey. So I don't want to spoil too much of the song, but I felt it's a really strong chorus that kind of harkens back to my appreciation for bands like Iron Maiden and bands like Rush, very progressive metal bands that did a lot of storytelling. So we really took on that element and really wanted to focus on Fierna. Another interesting aspect of that is Fierna has this blue crystalline tower which she rules from. So we kind of sprinkled that in there. Now, as far as Dante's source material, what we did is there's a great passage where Dante and Virgil are communicating about this plane of greed and how it affects popes and cardinals, which seems to be very ironic, and people that are in the clutches of greed. You know, Virgil basically says all the gold under the moon would still not give their heart rest. So what we did is, when Ravensea and I were writing lyrics, we really took a nice chunk of that element and tried to express what Dante and Virgil were really shooting for in the chorus. So there's a part where she sings, all the gold under the moon could never give you rest. And then there's another part where she says, you know, feel the pleasure and pain, the price to gain, the price to pay for worldly gains. And I'm not doing it justice, but believe me, it flows very well, and I think it really encompasses the moral compass or lack of moral compass on this plane. So that's the gist of that, and I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a deeper dive, a lot to get into. So on the band front, we are doing a music video for this. We had a great video shoot. We basically got the first half of the video shot. We were going to do a video shoot this week. However, some props we needed did not arrive in time. We're trying to up the production value on our videos, even though our budget is ridiculously non-existent. But that's a whole nother story. But we're working again with Roberts, who did our first two videos, Modal Consequence and Temptation. And so he has a really good understanding of our artistic vision and how our love of fantasy and medieval tropes and things of that nature. So it's a great fit. And, you know, he really threw together, I think, a very interesting treatment for the video. So we've got another location we're going to shoot in. And then at the end of July, Ravensea is going to be coming into town, and we're going to shoot her scenes, and we're also going to do some vocal performance. So it's really going to be a cool video, and like I said, it's really going to encompass the song well and be a great introduction to the Inferno album. And then with the release of the video, the album release will follow very shortly. We are shooting for a Halloween release to the public of the video. Now, for our Kickstarter supporters, you are going to get it prior to Halloween. So what we're going to do is, part of our Kickstarter package was you get a digital download of the Inferno LP, the EP, Past the Gates, which was meant to be the prequel to the album, and still is. And what we're going to do is, all our Kickstarter supporters are going to get all the digital downloads sent to them ahead of time. Now, for those of you who ordered just the CD, you're going to get those ahead of time. If you ordered t-shirts and a CD, you're going to get all that. We have just ordered a second batch of t-shirts, and these are the t-shirts that have the purple dragon on them, that were for our Kickstarter supporters only. We did print up a small batch in addition that we will be selling. I haven't decided if we're going to sell those online or if that's something we're going to do when we play live. It's kind of like a limited edition t-shirt is what I'm thinking. So if you ordered CD and t-shirts, those packages are going to be going out probably early fall is what we're shooting for. Now, the vinyl orders, anybody that ordered vinyl, unfortunately your shipments is going to have to wait because we are still waiting on the insert artwork for the album. So as soon as we can get that artwork, and the reason that artwork is important is a quarter of the Kickstarter budget went towards that art. So it was a pretty big portion of money we expended towards that art. I really wanted a piece of artwork for the insert that you could open up and really gaze at while you're listening to the album. I wanted that experience because I remember that experience when I was listening to albums. So I wanted to recreate that experience. So we're having to wait a little longer on the art than expected, but it's going to be worth the wait. Also on that album, for those of you who got our Kickstarter pledges that were in the later tiers, we had what is called the Hall of Heroes. So your name, for those of you who Hall of Heroes was part of your pledge, your name is going to be in the credits on the album. So we thought that was a really cool thing to share that experience with you guys because, you know, you're part of our team. So for those of you who did the Knight's Court, and I think the Wizards and the Dragon Slayers, your names are going to be in the credits as well. So it's an important part of the album because to us art and music go hand in hand. So the vinyl's going to have to wait. We're going to order it from Poland, and I'm worried that Poland is going to get a nuke dropped on it. So I'm not sure how the ordering process is going to go, and probably by the time I order it, diesel is going to be non-existent until 2023 because of the complete bumbling of the fuel supply by design or by incompetence. It doesn't matter. It's still absolute incontinence, a sin of incontinence and lack of good judgment by our leaders. But go figure, we put out an album called Inferno when the world's going to hell. So it's actually great timing. It's quite fitting, apparently. But yeah, we're going to get that vinyl out to you come hell or high water, and pun intended. So we're going to send out the digital version of the album. You're going to hear the album real soon here. You're going to see an amazing video about it. And it's designed to be one of those albums where you kick back when you actually have, you know, 45, 50 minutes to yourself to kind of really immerse yourself in a musical experience. And ultimately, my vision would be to do this as a stage show, more of like a musical opera type thing. So I'm just working on that vision, and let's see if I can make it a reality. But I thought that would be really cool, like a rock opera type thing, because the material is right there. So just a thought. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Please hit like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you don't follow us on Facebook, please do so. Dispel Music on Facebook. I do most of my posting on Facebook, which is also connected to our Instagram. So either Instagram or Facebook, Dispel Music. However, Facebook is our main hub for now. And when I do like any shows, or if I DJ a goth night or something, I can create an event in Facebook. That's the way we like it. Despite the evil, nefarious leadership behind that company. It's a necessary evil at this point. So I think I covered everything I wanted to, and we just appreciate you hanging out with us for this journey. You know, we really believe this album is something special. We worked our butts off to make sure it was. We wanted to do honor to Dante's material, and like I said, we really put a lot of modern fantasy into it to make it relatable, to make it that much more of an adventure and relatable to those of you who love gaming as much as us. And so I'm going to get out of here and enjoy the snippet of the song. And until next time, hang in there, work hard. If you haven't planted a garden, please do so. If you live in an apartment or in condo and you don't have room outside for a garden, do one inside by your windows. Get a planter or some 5-gallon buckets and plant some potatoes or tomatoes or something. But make yourself a little more self-reliant. Be more self-sufficient, and make sure you tighten your friends groups and support one another, because rough times could be ahead. So hang in there and rock on.
Rising from flames.